If you want a new PC build and you are new to gaming PCs, chances are if you try to build one yourself without any help, you will bottleneck your system. For that reason, I made this video. I will show you my favorite PC builds for every single budget. That way everyone gets a system, it has 0% bottleneck, and it will get you the highest FPS for the price. I will also explain everything in simple terms, that way you are able to understand me, and I will also show you the estimated performance of each system, so you see the FPS average as well. You will have the links to all of these PC builds as well with bonus PCs for different budgets down in the video description. With that being said, let's start. With the first PC, we have the $1,000 1440p Ultra or 1080p maxed out settings gaming system. Now for this one I have two options because one is a little bit above $1,000 and the other one is just around $1,000, and I will explain the differences in a second. But as I said before, you will have bonus systems in the description, so if you have $500 or $700, anything below 1,000, you will have it anyway in the description with the estimated performance. But anyway, back to the video. First I will tell you about the best $1,000 system, which is $1,050 by the time that I'm recording this video. This one has the Ryzen 5 7600, which is a great CPU to pair with this GPU, the RX 7800 XT. For you to see how good this system is on a 15 game average at 1440p on high to ultra settings, the 7800 XT was able to average 108 FPS. This is a really high number for 1440p considering the latest AAA titles were tested and also its high to ultra settings. If you want to run esports titles such as Valorant, Fortnite, CSGO and all these type of easy to run shooters, you will be able to average more than 200 FPS. So if you want a high refresh rate 1440p monitor, you can buy one. And then on that same 15 game average at 1080p high to ultra settings, it was able to average 147 FPS. If you're going for a 1080p monitor, then I would recommend you a cheaper system because I think you are overspending your money if you buy the 7800 XT for 1080p, but it is an option if you want higher FPS. For the rest of the components, you get 16 gigs of DDR5 memory, a 1TB Gen 4 SSD, which is going to be enough and you can always upgrade down the line. You get a B650 motherboard that's going to be enough for gaming. Then you get a nice case in the Bitfinex Nova Mesh. This one has 3 pre-installed fans and the price is excellent. And then you get 800 watts of 80 plus cold power supply, which is way more than enough for this build. Now, if you do not want to spend those extra $50 and you want to stay at the $1,000 price, then I do recommend you downgrading the CPU to the Ryzen 7 5700X, which is from an older platform, and that means that the motherboard is going to be different, the memory kit as well, and then I also added a CPU cooler for the Ryzen 7. This is going to be a worse option because in the future, if you want a new CPU, you will have to upgrade the motherboard, but if you buy the other PC for 50 extra bucks, if you want a new CPU in the future, most likely you will be able to just swap the CPU and you will not have to buy the motherboard if it's on the same AM5 platform. So the main difference is that the $1,050 system is more future-proof. Let's move on to the $1,200 system. This one is going to be better in terms of performance because instead of the Ryzen 5 7600, you get the Ryzen 7 7700, which is an 8-core processor instead of a 6-core one, therefore better for multitasking. And then you also get 32 gigs of RAM on this system instead of 16 gigs, which is going to make a difference when it comes to streaming. One good thing I forgot to mention about the 7800 XT is that it comes with AV1 encoding, so your streamings will look really nice. And you can also play at 4K if you want because it comes with 16 gigs of VRAM, so there's no limitation when it comes to 4K resolution. Although if you want to play at 4K ultra settings on the latest AAA titles, I would recommend you a more expensive system. And then the other thing that it changes on this $1,200 system is the power supply. I went with a 750 watt 80 plus volt power supply, and you may be wondering why did you do that if the other one had more wattage. The thing is that this 750 watt 80 plus volt power supply has better quality and it's also fully modular, which means that you will be able to change the cables of the power supply if you wanted to. This system is $1,227, and in terms of gaming performance, it's going to be really similar to the last one, but it is going to make a difference when it comes to streaming, performance on the CPU demanding titles, and then then the power supply is going to be better quality. With the next one, we have the $2,000 4K Ultra gaming system. This one is all that you're going to need for gaming. Honestly, I wouldn't spend more money than this if you just want to do gaming. And you may be wondering, why didn't I put a $1,500 PC on this video? It's because I've made a $1,500 video recently. You will have that one in the top right of the screen. I highly recommend you watching it. But anyway, as I said before, in the description, you will have it as well. Anyway, back to this $2,000 PC, you get the Ryzen 7 7800X3D, which is the fastest CPU for gaming on the market, and for the GPU you get the RX 7900XTX, which is the second fastest GPU on the market, right below the RTX 4090, but it is much cheaper than the 4090. For you to see the estimated performance on a 16 game average on high to ultra settings at 4K resolution, the 7900XTX was able to average 113 FPS, being the second best on this whole list. And then at 1440p on that same test, it was able to average 181 FPS, which is really high. I wouldn't recommend it for 1440p since I think it's an overkill, but if you want to play at 1440p, you can. And since you get the Ryzen 7 7800X3D, you are also getting the best performance in high CPU demanding titles. So the esports titles I've mentioned before, Valorant, Fortnite and CSGO, these type of games you will be able to run pretty comfortable at 300 plus FPS, even at 4K resolution. Then if you are interested in the rest of the components, you get 32 gigs of DDR5 fast memory. Then you get the MSI Pro X670P for the motherboard. It has plenty of connectivity, really good features overall, and good quality audio. Then for the CPU cooler, we have a 360 all-in-one liquid cooler. That's going to be plenty for our Ryzen 7. And then for the case, we have the Lian Li Line-Cool 216. Really good airflow. In my opinion, it looks beautiful. You also get an 850 watt 80 plus gold power supply, which is going to be necessary for this CPU GPU combo. And then you get 2 terabytes of Gen 4 SSD instead of 1 terabyte, which is going to be really useful if you download a bunch of titles. And then with the best PC of this list, if you want the best of the best, I recommend you buying this one for gaming. We get the same Ryzen 7 7800X3D, but you get the RTX 4090, which is the best GPU on the market. So if you want to play at 4K Ultra, this is the best in terms of performance that you will be able to get on the market today. There's no limits when it comes to FPS and resolution, and it is a better quality PC overall because the motherboard is a more premium motherboard. You also get 4 terabytes of Gen 4 SSD in 2 different drives instead of 2 terabytes, which is going to make a difference if you want to transfer larger files all the time. And then you get the NZXT H7 Flow with RGB fans. In my opinion, it looks amazing, and this is the current case that I have, but I have it with no RGB fans because I do not like RGB. However, if you don't like RGB, you can always turn the RGB off from the fans. And then you get a 1200 watt 80 plus platinum power supply because the RTX 4090 requires more power than any other GPU on the market. The total price for this system when I'm recording this video is $3,012, and as I said on this video, these are PCs for gaming. So if you want to do more content creation than gaming, then you should prioritize your CPU. And for example, on this last system, instead of the Ryzen 7 7800X3D, I would have gone with the i9 13900K or Ryzen 9 7900X for better productivity and content creation performance. However, if that's you, don't worry, I got you covered in the description. As I said at the beginning, you will have plenty of more PCs with different budgets and also for different usage. But if you still need help with your system, maybe you want a different type of PC build, or maybe you want a Prebuilt PC, I highly recommend you asking me for personal PC help, where I will take a look at your specific situation and help you out with everything. And if you got to this point of the video, comment Shadow, I'm a real one. That way I know you are a real one and you watched until the end. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.